Shadiversity.
Greetings, I'm Shad, and I want to talk to you a little bit about He-Man and why he's important. The reason being why he's important is the underlying concept, and so this discussion, even though it's going to be looking at it through the lens of He-Man specifically, is applicable to many other things in the hero genre. Of course, the thing that has made me reflect on the importance of He-Man recently is the recent Netflix TV series, which is not called He-Man because it's actually not about He-Man ultimately. More appropriately, it'd be called the Teela Show, which is Masters of the Universe Revelations. This actually isn't going to be a review of Masters of the Universe Revelations, though a lot of what I talk about is going to have significant implications on how He-Man was treated in that show. And so it's definitely an important kind of companion to a review, and I am doing a review which might actually be coming out at the same time as this video over on my other channel, Game Nights, an actual in-depth review and discussion on Master of the Universe Revelations. This video is actually, in what I feel, is a more important discussion on the concepts that He-Man, the character, and the positive impact it has had on me growing up, and the importance, the need for characters like this, which ultimately frames the failure of Master of the Universe Revelations in its most primary core point, okay? Like, Master of the Universe Revelations fails dramatically at the underlining essential nature and importance that He-Man as a character represented, because that's not present in that show at all, and you could not fail more as a He-Man show than through ignoring, undermining, and even disregarding the essential concept that He-Man as a character is built upon. So that is the thing that I want to talk about, and before we dive into that, I actually just want to quickly give a bit of a promo to my chainmail print hoodie, which I'm wearing in this video, and is available in my Teespring store. I actually have had this available for a long time, and I haven't properly promoted it, which is a crying shame, because speaking unironically, my favorite hoodie. Okay, it's actually made really well, and it's chainmail, it's awesome, and I'm kind of substituting it as like a chainmail hallwork underneath, and look, even as a hoodie, you know, like, I know it's not exact, but it gets the look, and it actually looks really cool, and it is an awesome hoodie, available in my Teespring store. Do go check it out. As well as other chainmail print clothing, like t-shirts and even pants and stuff, and it's legitimately an awesome hoodie that I love wearing, and, you know, I've had people who's like, hey, that's chainmail, it's an authentic printed chainmail as well. Yeah, Teespring, check it out. Now, back to He-Man. The reason why I feel He-Man is the best example of what I'm going to talk about is that it exemplifies and exaggerates this idea. What is this idea? It's the idea about not only the hero, but the masculine hero. We're talking about the masculine ideal of the male hero. How does He-Man exemplify this beyond nearly most other heroes? Just look at his name, He-Man, okay? It is essentially meaning the manly man, the man of mans. He is He-Man. Now, I know if you go into the canon, the lore, the word he is actually a word from another language that means power, and so the sword of he means, translation, the sword of power, hence why it's called the sword of power, but it's hard to know what they're keeping in canon from the original, you know, comic books and stuff like that, and in translation, it could be called Power Man, but to most general understandings, He-Man is actually referring to the manly man. And you can kind of see just by his look, okay? It is unapologetically ultra-masculine, right? And I love that for many reasons, and I'm going to go into some of the symbology as to why I think having a masculine ideal is important. But before I even get there, I want to actually talk about a real-world example of the hugely positive effect this has had on people, and the real-world example that I can draw from is myself, okay? There are a couple, really two, primary childhood heroes from my past, okay? Where I, if I think to who are the biggest childhood heroes when I was young, there are two top of the list. There is really a third, but the third came in later when I started to, you know, a bit more mature. But when I was really young, like this is like between the years of 6 to 10, it was He-Man and Superman, okay? The men, like the Ultraman, which like Superman is like the ultimate man, and He-Man, the most manly man. It's just funny how those two were the top of the list for me. And then the one that came in, a bit after was Spider-Man. Now, when I say these had a positive impact on me, far more so than I think a lot of other kids, and I want to just share some, a bit of a story of my past, okay? I fell in love with these heroes. I would play these heroes in the backyard, at school, with my friends and everything like that. I would mimic them. I would wish to be them. I would pretend to be them, okay? This is when being able to see a hero and imprint upon them, kind of see yourself as that hero becomes really important. Now, this is the thing. When you start to role play, essentially, when you're a kid, as these heroes, you mimic their behavior. So this becomes this actually, when I say really important, really, really important as to the type of behavior these heroes are presenting. Now, if you watch original He-Man and old school Superman, I was even watching that really old Superboy show. The Superboy show, that was, then cancelled when they brought in Lois and Clark. Still watch that. And the really old Superman cartoon, like this looks like a job for Superman. And then he goes into the phone booth and then changes. Like, I love those cartoons, okay? So going back to kind of mimicking and copying what you see these favorite heroes doing, absolutely. When I played, Superman, like I need to be like Superman, okay? Which was a noble, just, honest, good person. And that had a severe and deep impact on me and on my psyche as a child. I did my best to do what my parents told me to do, okay? Because that's what heroes do. You do the right thing. And I was a remarkably obedient child. Of course, I had the little dumb mistakes that you make as kids where you do something naughty where you don't really realize it was naughty at the time and then you get caught and all that stuff. Of course, those things. But overall, for the large majority, really good kid. And a lot of it was because I wanted to be a superhero. Now, when I say that I wanted to be a superhero, this wasn't just like an idle daydream. As a young child, it became a lifelong goal. I wanted to be a superhero. It was like a passion. And so I would go to school and I would try and brainstorm with my friends how I could get superpowers. And I'm not kidding. This is a real example. And I remember sitting down with my friends talking about, well, how could you get powers? Because when you get superpowers, what do you do with them? Duh, you become a superhero and help people. I wanted to help people. And of course, I'm sure I was like enamored by the glory ideal as well and stuff like that, but I wanted to be like these heroes that I love so much. And I remember like talking about, well, look, radioactive spiders are not from Krypton, stuff like that. Genie bottle. I found a genie, lamp, wishes. And I mapped out what my 3 wishes would be. I understood those rules, okay? And I think I even memory and what I was trying to milk the thing, because you don't just want to wish for super strength, because that's one wish and you get one power. If you wish for all the powers of Superman, you not only get super strength, you get all these other powers as well. And so you need to be smart about those wishes. The problem was I couldn't find those damn genie lamps. I didn't know where to even begin looking. So how else could I get superpowers? And I came to this is real story. I came to an ultimate plan and conclusion of how to do it. I could ask Santa for them. Santa was real. He had magical powers. He could give me superpowers. That was the plan. And so guess what I did towards that Christmas? I unironically, in full seriousness, asked Santa for superpowers. And I'm not kidding. You can ask my parents. This is a real story. I even have memories of my parents telling my aunt that this is what Shad asked for Christmas. How are we going to handle that? And if there's any kids watching this, okay, sometimes parents think they have to, fulfill the child's dream of giving presents and stuff like that because they don't have enough faith in Santa. Santa can do the job, all right? And I'll tell you, because he knew what to do, right? And this was how he handled them. On Christmas, I got a note from Santa. Oh, this is a real story, right? A note from Santa, and it said, thank you, for asking for the thing. And I will give you superpowers when you're older. And I was like, yes! I fully accepted that. When I'm older, I can wait. Done. We're done. Well played, Santa. I'm still waiting. Okay. All right, so as you can tell, hopefully from this story, is that I've loved superheroes my whole life, and that had a deep impact on me as a kid in a tremendously positive way. All right? And what are the positive ways? I was an obedient kid, okay? My parents actually were pretty strict. One of the rules is that they didn't want me to drink Coca-Cola. So it's bad for you drink, okay? It wasn't for religious reasons, even though I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and we don't drink alcohol or tea and coffee and stuff for religious reasons. There's no actual doctrine saying don't drink Coke, and people misinterpret that thinking no Mormons can drink Coke, right? Coca-Cola. But my parents didn't want me drinking just because of caffeine and other unhealthy things and stuff. And I remember my friend, and this was when I was in primary school, and I must have been like grade 1 or 2 because I changed schools after those years, and I remember this memory happening in the school, so I know that the age. And he was trying to get me to drink Coke, like a Coca-Cola. He had a Coca-Cola. And I was so reluctant to. I remember feeling really rough, like it's against what my parents told me to do. And I had this just concept of obedience, like Superman wouldn't disobey his parents, He-Man wouldn't do this. And I ultimately did, right? He poured some in my hand and I sipped it. And I remember tasting pretty good at the time. And I felt so guilty. And I was looking around, I was behind a tree. I was so worried that someone would see me and stuff. And then I never drunk it again until my parents said it was okay to drink it. They relaxed on the thing, and then I started drinking Pepsi Max heaps. And then I stopped it because it started to make me urinate all the time. I drink a Pepsi Max, and then 5 minutes later I have to pee, and it turns out it's a diuretic. So there we go. So I don't drink cola drinks just because they are really bad for you now. And I don't want to pee all the time. So there's that story, okay? Positive impact of heroic ideals, okay? Now, He-Man, I think, exemplifies this even more than a lot of Superman shows. Why? One, unapologetic in its masculine glory, basically. He's got his muscles out, he's just got, that thing over the top, he's got a cool sword, and so this is an unapologetic masculine ideal, even so much so because he's basically only wearing a loincloth. This is the guy, this is what the ultimate peak of masculinity looks like, okay? And even though Superman is muscular and everything, and I think these heroes should be for those reasons, and actually let me explain that a bit more. The heroic ideal is an important thing because it should be an aspirational figure. These are the type of people we would want to aspire to. Is it better, like just flat, simple question, is it better to be fit and muscular or unfit and overweight? The answer is pretty obvious. One has far more benefits to you in life than not. One requires discipline, self-sacrifice, like work, okay? And it requires learning the concept of delayed gratification, okay? I'm going to put myself through discomfort and pain through exercise and all that stuff to achieve something that is a higher concept, a higher ideal, better for health, better for attracting a good-looking, woman when you grow up, and all those things, okay? And makes you more capable in being able to use the strength that you develop in helping other people. Because this is where the masculine ideal comes into the concept of a hero, which is actually, different, not in all cases, but different to the feminine ideal, all right? Men, on average, of course, are stronger than women. And so there are certain responsibilities that fall upon men that men should be taught to live up to and exemplify. When there is something heavy to be lifted, the guy should step forward, I'll do that. These are noble things, okay, which honestly are trying to be subverted in the modern day, which I feel is terrible because society tends to break down. When push comes to shove, you're going to need the people most equipped to do the hard jobs to do those jobs. So there are some things that men are better at and some things that women are better at. And when things get serious and stuff needs to get done, we need the people who are best equipped to do those jobs to fill those jobs, and society prospers. And part of this, and look, I think there is a legitimate, very important part that young girls and women need to be taught about fulfilling general feminine responsibilities. Same with men. Men, boys in particular, and this is what superheroes and He-Man was teaching me as I was growing up, was instilling the absolutely essential nature of what the masculine responsibilities are in societies and families. These are very important. And if you think, as bad. It doesn't apply in all situations. It applies in most situations. And it has absolutely been confirmed in my own personal life, especially since I got married, okay? I love my wife. She is so capable, emotionally strong in so many ways, yet there are certain things that she cannot do nearly as well as me because I'm bigger and taller. It goes to lifting things and opening jars and protecting our children. There are so many dangers in the world. Also, instilling discipline. Children need discipline. They need to be taught right and wrong. And it is an absolute reality that the disciplinary role has more often fallen to the men. It is amazing how fundamental and basic this is when you actually have children. My wife, there's been many times where she's been growling at our kids, you have to do this, and they're not listening. She looks to me, Shad, can you tell them, oi, listen to your mother? Instant reaction. Why? I have a deeper voice. And when I'm talking about this is an instinctive thing in children, even from a very young age, okay? Now, the importance of discipline should never be, emphasized more than the importance of affection. You absolutely need to show your kids that you love them, but you can't love them so much to the point where you don't tell them they've done something wrong or let them get away with bad behavior. So when it comes back to the roles we have in society and stuff like that, all the way going back to how does this relate to He-Man? In so many ways, all right? He-Man represents strength. Just look at him. This actually extends to like the action hero archetype. And also, why do you think men on average enjoy these more than women? Women can enjoy them. In fact, I've been trying to get my wife to use swords and play role-playing games and watch action cartoons and stuff since I met her. She's just not into it, okay? And so it's not that boys are trying to bar girls from getting into the things that we like. No, we've been encouraging girls to get into them forever. But on average, a lot of them just aren't as into them. Guys like action heroes, superheroes, far more than women on average. Why do you think that is the case? There is something that is speaking to the male psyche here. That actually, when we see that, there's something inside us like, I would like to be like that. Why? Men do gain satisfaction and fulfillment out of providing and protecting. All right? I've never felt more like a man in my life until after I was married and had children. Having this family that are reliant on me for me providing and protecting for them gives me the most amount of fulfillment I can express. It gives me happiness and joy. I could not do anything else in my life that would give me more fulfillment, happiness, and joy than this. And the more capable I am in fulfilling those roles, the better I feel as an individual. What makes me more capable? All right, being more capable in protecting my family and my children is an important, absolutely. I cannot express how much I love my children, care for them, and how afraid I am for their safety. I watch them like a hawk, okay? That's my responsibility, and there is this connection so deep in me about that. So, being able to fulfill that to the best of my ability is really important. I see this hero, I want to be like them, I want to work out, I want to be stronger, I want to learn how to fight off any threats or anything like that, so I went and learnt martial arts. I'm into swords and all those things, and there's been times in my life where I've been far more fit and capable physically, and other times. But the point is, in my family unit, I am the one who is by far, in orders of magnitude, most equipped to protect them. That's my role, and therefore I want to get better at it, and I enjoy watching media that encourages that mindset, okay? And it's already done its job. It's fulfilled its purpose because I got to enjoy this as a kid, which really ingrained these ideals into me. I want to be strong, I want to be heroic, I want to be just, I want to be fair, I want to, all these great things. So He-Man, the original cartoon, we're talking about the original concept of He-Man, hits the masculine ideal out of the park. But what about the moral ideal? Have a look at the original cartoon, okay? At the end of each cartoon, it had like a great little moral message, just a little lesson. This wasn't about, trying to promote a subversive ideology or promoting one side of the aisle, left or right. It wasn't about any of that. It was about common sense decency. And you sometimes just good things to know. There's one I just watched today just to get a refresher on things, and the moral message was, He-Man couldn't use his strength in this situation, but he used his brain instead. And you might not have super strength, but you do have a brain, and you can be smart, and so you could have that superpower for yourself. What a great message for children, It is an empowering message. And this is the other thing why He-Man is so important, okay? Because at its core, it exemplifies these ideals more than anything else, even more than Superman, okay? It is a message of empowerment. What is one of the most iconic lines in He-Man? I have the power. So much in society today, there is a message of, you are a victim. You do not have the power. Your failure, your oppression is the result of all these other external factors that you have no control over. Therefore, you need to blame them, and you need someone else to save you, and you need all these, things to answer for these problems in your life. That's a horrible message. It's a depowering message. It's a message that weakens and makes people into infants, all right? Where they just sit there, whine and complain and be offended about everything. He-Man, the message was, I have the power. You are empowered to do better, to be stronger, to take control of your life and be a success. In its underlining core, I have the power. And so you might be thinking, no, He-Man had the power, he has the power. But guess what? I cannot tell you the amount of times when I was playing as a kid and I pretended to pull a sword from my back, lift it to the sky and scream, I have the power! Like it was me. And it felt good. It felt like you had control and you could fight off all the opponents and succeed. And, you were playing a game, but it's instilling something crucially important into your subconscious that you can achieve. You have the power, you have the capacity. You come across problems. Did He-Man ever give up? Well, I'm playing like He-Man, I'm not giving up either. And really, when I look at the things that I've been able to achieve in life, and sometimes I get in these reflective, it's like, why? Because I see other people trying to achieve. Why did I achieve? Part of it is that I had the confidence that I would, all right? That's not everything, okay? The other part of achieving my dreams, your dreams and stuff, is actually realizing that you might never achieve them. And it's like, hang on, can you have the power? You need to find satisfaction in the pursuit. You have the power to do that. Absolutely. And if you choose to never give up in the pursuit of your dreams, you do need to realize that you should be aiming for something other than success. You should be aiming out of the fulfillment and joy in the pursuit. All right? And that's what happened to me. I wanted to be a successful author. I realized I could spend my entire life trying to be an author and never publishing a book, and still have lived a happier, more fulfilling life than if I didn't pursue this passion and just did something else that gave me great financial benefit. Right? And that was the thing. And I realized I had the power to do that. And I still had, of course, the confidence and belief that I could achieve. And so belief is a very important thing. You need to realize you have the power, but what about gaining the power? Part of gaining the power, all right, relating to this concept of He-Man, is gaining the skills and ability to do it. There's a lot of people trying to succeed in life, and they don't have the ability. They haven't cultivated and practiced and developed those skills to achieve it. And they're just working on something that is not ready or complete. And so part of having the power is gaining the power, and you do it through hard work, okay? And so these are all really positive things, and that I think are at the core of the concept of He-Man as a hero. The actual cartoon, in terms of the plot and the logic behind it, the power scaling, consistency, is a mess. It's a kid's cartoon. It's not the greatest, but as a kid, you didn't need that. You needed a He-Man kicking butt. It's about seeing yourself in this hero and wanting to be like them, okay? And so if the cartoon had that base level, He-Man looking awesome and kicking butt, on board. And by the way, like, the transformation sequence of the original He-Man is like the greatest I've ever seen. It's uplifting, it's triumphant, it's powerful, it's glorious, it has all those things, and I still get goosebumps when I see it, where it's like, by the power of Grayskull, He-Man, and that just kick of the He-Man is like a celebration of masculinity, the manly man, be like this man, and then I have the power, and the triumphant. It's amazing. I got it like it was a drug for me as a kid, and I still watch it and see goosebumps. And no transformation sequence. And even, by the way, there's a different remake, like a 2003 remake of He-Man. It was actually really, really good. And so, forget this Masters of the Universe Revelations garbage. If you want to see the review, come over to Game Nights and check out my discussion. But the 2003 remake is get into that. That's the good one, okay? Because in terms of story and animation, they improve things a lot in that remake, but they don't improve the transformation. The original transformation is balls to the walls the best. It's amazing. Like, You just need to use that same music, same sequence, and just with better animation stuff, you'd hit it out of the park. And so even by that transformation sequence, it's again like a celebration of the heroic ideal. And one of the other things, again, why He-Man was important, okay? Why He-Man was awesome, even more than Superman, okay? Is because there was a transformation. An average person, granted, Adam in the original cartoon didn't exactly look like the average kid. They did that in the 2003 remake, or was it 2004? I can't remember, where it was a more average-looking kid. But the concept, if you had this sort of power, you could transform into He-Man. And then what you do when you're transformed into He-Man, you act like He-Man. And the more that you are copying these actions, the more it gets instilled in your brain as that's the good, right way to act. And I can't believe that some people think that elements of this is like toxic masculinity. Telling boys to be strong and to suck it up when it's the wrong time to cry, okay? And it's usually in a result of pain. It's like you can handle the pain, you're strong, you're empowered, and you can do what needs to be done. You can protect and provide, okay? And this is, I can't stand the idea that the traditional masculine role is seen as a type of forcing women into they serve you and you lord over them as like a patriarch. That is a disgusting thing. The core concept of this heroic ideal of masculinity is about sacrifice and service because you are capable and empowered to protect and provide. This is a wonderful ideal. This is why it's women and children save first and men stay on the ship and go down with them, because men's lives have always been seen as more disposable than women's lives in most, not in every, but in most of human history, because that's our role, to protect and provide, and that is such a beneficial thing to society. And so even though there is subversive things in the world to say that women and men should be treated absolute equality, okay, and some men are thinking like, okay, well, I'd hit a guy if he offends me, does that mean I'll hit a girl? No. I say reject that. I say embrace the traditional virtuous masculine ideal. It'll give you happiness and satisfaction in life, okay? Never hit a girl. Unless, of course, she's threatening your life and you need to defend yourself. Obviously, there are limits, all right? But don't hit a girl. Open the door for them, all right? Pull out a chair to let them sit and everything. Now, why is even small things... This is not pandering, okay? This is not saying women are incapable of doing these things. Not at all. This is instilling the idea of service and sacrifice in your mind. So when something really comes along that actually needs you to do it because you are stronger and on average bigger, all right, you will be trained in your own mind to step forward and do the role. That's what is meant by these other little elements of service. Holding the door open, giving your jacket to a woman when it's cold, and you choosing to undergo discomfort. You're cold now, where you're allowing someone else to not be cold in sacrifice to your own comfort, okay? These little traditional chivalrous actions, okay, are all there about instilling the practice of sacrifice and service because you have the capacity in certain tasks more than others. And it comes down to, on average, men are bigger and stronger. And so when push comes to shove and there is something that needs to be done that requires greater strength, greater ability to defend yourself, is that you will be trained and know to step forward to do that because that's your role. Now, if you think that's unfair, if you fill those roles, you will be happier and more satisfied and feel far more capable as a man, all right? It will make you feel better because when we fulfill those roles, that's the role, okay? That's the job, and I've been able to see this in my own life. I get so much fulfillment and satisfaction in serving and protecting my family, all right? And this is, I feel, really important and positive and healthy for male mental health, all right? Absolutely. And guys, if you are struggling with your mental health, take up responsibility, all right? And even if you don't have someone to be responsible for, take up responsibility for your own life, your own environment, clean your room, all those great messages, okay? You have the power, so take that power and achieve. Do more, all right? Do you see why He-Man, at its core, is the best hero that exemplifies the masculine ideal? Not just in appearance, okay? He's the most manly-looking man out of all the other heroes, all right, than anything else. Unashamedly so. And I find it interesting that it was a toy company that decided this, and I watched a documentary on the development of iconic toys, and one of the ones was He-Man, and what they were trying to achieve with He-Man was something that little boys would love. unashamedly, we want to sell toys, we need to make something that little boys would love the most. And so even by that approach, they were able to hit on some of the most important concepts of this, because most little boys, it speaks to them as true and as something aspirational, something that they want to achieve. And this was not only just with the appearance, as like, you want to be muscular and strong and powerful. Yeah, which boy would say no to that? I mean, I'm sure there's some, but the vast majority, of course you'd love to look like He-Man. Oh my goodness, okay? And then the tagline, I have the power, they came to that because they felt children often feel like they don't have the power. They're always told what to do, sit down, be obedient, all this, which is important, okay? But also teaching children that they do have power, power to achieve, power to obey the rules as well. And they thought that an empowering message would be attractive to young boys. I have the power. And it flippin' was! Like, it was really attractive, because that tagline is an empowering tagline by the very definition of the words. And it is so contrary to what the message is in so many things in the modern day, where people are saying you don't have the power and you're a victim. So not only was He-Man really important, I actually feel that underlining message is needed, so needed in the modern day. An empowering message, young boys being the most of them, because this is what most young boys are going to be attracted to. And look, if girls love it, even better, all right? But most girls aren't going to be attracted to them, which is why people purposely change so many properties to be attractive or to be more appealing to young girls. But young girls have their own things. That's why they made She-Ra, even though they subverted and ruined that as well. But She-Ra was specifically made in the say, let's make something really girly. And the girls loved it, even though I actually watched She-Ra as well, because you know why I watched She-Ra? I thought she was hot as a boy. It worked, okay? But She-Ra, girly girl, a princess of power, with a unicorn with wings, and brilliant. Great as well, but they subverted that. And the one that was catered to boys, all right, saying again, I really feel, is something that is needed in the modern day. And this is why the failure of Masters of the Universe Revelations is so great. Because He-Man, well, I won't go into spoilers there, but it's not only absent, they almost go out of their way to try and subvert that thing, all right? And I'll speak in more detail about it. But this whole video frames the ultimate failure of Masters of the Universe Revelations in its most complete way that I can think of. And so, yes, I've been rather disappointed with it, because I don't like, not real spoilers, but they do rob you of this ideal, they rob you of He-Man, and it's one of those things that I have a stronger emotional reaction to, because it's an offense to my childhood and the hero that I idolized and had such a positive impact on me to make me a better person. I am legitimately a better person for He-Man. And even though it was made to sell toys, I actually never got around to buying the toys. I would have loved them though as a kid. But the people who made He-Man, honestly, the original core concept, should feel proud at making such a aspirational hero that had such a positive impact on young boys growing up. What a wonderful thing. I was blessed by it. And my heart breaks that I have 4 boys, that my boys don't have nearly as many great male role models. They get some here and there, and I always try and show them the really cool ones. I'm getting them into Dragon Ball Z these days, and we've been watching My Hero Academia, which has also been cool. And the Marvel movies up to Endgame also kind of capture this. I tried to get them into He-Man, but it's just too old for them. They have standards vastly different to when I was growing up, and the animations just, they didn't. It's disappointing. I wish I could get him into He-Man. But I've gotten into other superheroes like Superman and things, and Spider-Man and stuff, the good interpretations. Because these are needed for young boys. I understand that, and I'm absolutely giving that to my boys. Some are not old enough, but of course they're at different ages. So these are my thoughts as why He-Man was important and ultimately is still important, and shows that celebrate the core concept and ideals of what these heroes represent are still needed in the modern days. Young boys need this stuff. And that they're not getting it, and they're getting fed other things, which are teaching them subversive concepts about what it means to be a man. All right? It's messing them up, unfortunately. And so my heart weeps for it as well. But that's why I'm sharing this video. So, all love to classic He-Man and the classic masculine heroic ideal, and why it should be aspirational because it makes us want to be better. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed, guys. And of course, I hope to see you again. I hope to see you over on game nights where I share my full in-depth review of Masters of the Universe Revelations. And until that time, farewell.